Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm from Piqua, Ohio, and I'm currently attending Cincinnati Christian University. I'm a sophomore and I'm studying early childhood education.
Hi, and I am Katie Pierce. I'm originally from French Lick, Indiana, but I am also attending Cincinnati Christian University here in Ohio, and I'm a sophomore and I'm also studying early childhood education. Today we're going to be discussing the advantages and disadvantages of teacher evaluations.
A pro of teacher evaluations is they're well designed. If they are well designed, they could help teachers in three ways. The first way is teachers could gain information in a formal scoring and feedback routine of an evaluation program. And second, they could encourage teachers to be generally more self-reflective regardless of evaluative criteria. And third, they could create more opportunities for conversations with other teachers and administrators about effective practices.
I agree with you partly, Marissa, but I think that most of the teacher evaluations aren't well designed. And I think that they could add a lot of value to the classrooms if they were. But I think that the value added measures that are designed to the teacher evaluations are done at random. And the students are randomly assigned teachers, and therefore the teachers don't know who they're going to get. And I think that can affect the teachers' ratings, especially if you're in a poverty area compared to a suburban area. You're going to get different groups of kids there. And I think that can have a lot to do with the different teacher evaluations that you're going to get.
I also think that teachers should be evaluated by students because it can benefit the teachers and the students. Like educators could identify current strengths and weaknesses and work harder in those areas that need development. Students can also guide teachers toward providing educational experiences they truly enjoy. Students can highlight teachers' positive aspects, which could fire the teacher's enthusiasm. And teachers will be less likely to become complacent in their work if they know that they are being evaluated by their students and regularly.
I think that that is very important that they're evaluated regularly. And I think as a teacher and a future educator is what we're both going to do. I think it is important that we make a habit of asking our students what they think rather than giving them a one-time chance to be heard. So give the students a survey on your first day of class, or just talk to them, sit down, get on their level, and make sure that they know where you stand and that you want to hear feedback from them so you know that they are learning. And then just after that, every few weeks, just check in with them and make sure that they are seeing the progress that they want to see. And if you are asking your students, you need to make sure that you're also listening to them and letting them be heard and let them see the difference in your classroom.
Yeah, I agree with that. The purpose behind teacher evaluations are really good. Donald Heffley identifies the following purposes that are served when evaluating, but he argues that the system should provide constructive feedback to individual educators, provide direction for staff development, and unify teachers and administrators in collective efforts to educate students.
I couldn't agree more with you that the purpose behind the teacher evaluations are good, and it is a good idea, but in reality, I feel like they're unreliable. A teacher spends approximately 6 hours a day with a student for 180 days a year teaching them and getting to know the student on a personal level and to know about their family and not just how they are inside the classroom. And I think if you have an evaluator come in, they're just seeing that student perform with you for 30 minutes to an hour when they're doing the observation, and they're basing it off of the one time that they see you. And in one of the studies, it says that many teachers become very nervous when they're being observed and that their performance can suffer when an evaluator is in there. I think that is due to lack of evaluations just throughout their life. Like now we are already getting evaluated when we're sophomores in college. So I think some people haven't had that opportunity to be evaluated, and then it happens at their real job and they get nervous and they get scared. So I think that, yeah, the purpose behind the evaluations are good, but I just think they're mostly unreliable for the most part.
I found a study done in Cincinnati Public Schools and they said they find that teachers are more effective at raising student achievement during the school year when they are being evaluated than they were previously before they were being evaluated. So even more, they became even more effective in the years after they were evaluated. The study said that a student instructed by a teacher after that teacher has been through the Cincinnati evaluation will score 11% higher on a standard deviation. That's 4.5 percentile points for a median student. So they were higher in math than a similar student taught by the same teacher before the teacher was evaluated.
So do you think that is because the teacher's performing better because there's like an administrative person in there with them?
Yeah, I think so. Because if a teacher knows that if an administrator is going to look at my like
your lessons,
and your
test scores,
yeah, then they'll work harder to make sure those students are actually learning instead of just letting them fly through the class.
Yeah, I agree with that because I do feel like a lot of teachers probably just do the bare minimum because the salary isn't as high, so you're getting less for how much work you're doing compared to some other people. So I agree that some teachers could just fly under the radar and do the bare minimum and not give their students really what they deserve, especially in a public school system.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that since the teacher evaluations are unreliable and the results are erratic for the most part, I think many teachers are incorrectly labeled effective and ineffective. And I think when you look at the results on a standard, like if you were to go sit into a classroom for 180 days and watch an effective teacher, I feel like you could realize really quick that that teacher is not really an effective teacher, and the same with an ineffective teacher. So I think it can fall both ways. I think that the teaching profession, the teachers do need to be evaluated, but I do think that there needs to be a common ground to where people can go in and evaluate them correctly and give them a fair judgment call on what they are really doing in the classroom with students.
Do you think if there was like a rubric of what like to expect like throughout the whole country or state, do you think that would help?
I think that would be better, just putting everybody on the same level playing field, because I think I read where teaching evaluations aren't done in every state. Did you read that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's hard because if you're in Ohio and you leave Ohio to go to a different state where maybe there's not teacher evaluations, where do you slack off? Where do teachers stop trying so hard, or do teachers try harder because they know they're not going to get judged on what they are producing? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think there is a better way to do it, and I think a rubric may help with that. And I think that may be something that states or the nation needs to look at to better fit a teaching rubric to a specific category of teachers.
Yeah, I think I read it was something similar to that, but it was like saying how there's in different like Cincinnati public schools versus like West Claremont, there's like a different standard. So a teacher could be proficient in like Cincinnati public school, but in West Claremont they're like a terrible teacher. So and that's like they're so close together. So it's like interesting.
And where do you draw a line for the kids? Because really teachers are in there for the kids. So if you're not doing your job, you're not hurting yourself really as much as you're hurting the kids.
Mm-hmm. I read somewhere where currently evaluations are viewed as threatening or crucial to the teacher's job, and if teachers were encouraged to take initiative to self-improve, they could ask the principal to come in and just give feedback without a penalty instead of waiting for when the principal or administration comes in to and it'll affect their position.
Yeah, I think that's that would be a much better way to apply teacher evaluations into the classroom. I feel like principals might disagree with that a little because I feel like they're so stretched thin already. But but I do think there needs to be teacher evaluations. I think that there needs to be a look at how they're being done and how they affect the teachers and how they affect the students, because right now I don't feel like teacher evaluations are performing at the level that they should be.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for taking time to listen to our podcast. I hope that you learned a little bit about some disadvantages and advantages of teaching evaluations. Thank you for discussing this topic with me, Marissa.
Thanks.
Thank you guys for listening.